That time, there have been no lubrication-related failures on the felt roll bearings. None at all. Went to zero.
It is no problem for the engineers at Ingersoll Rand to design oil-field compressor pumps which can withstand Arctic and tropical conditions. It is much harder to design around the human condition. Who can guarantee a piece of equipment when there is no guarantee of scheduled maintenance, no guarantee of oil replacement, and an absolute guarantee that these high-powered compressors will be forced to run 24 hours a day?
We're looking at the XHP 1150 oil-field compressor. Our main cooling package is on the front end of the unit. Most of these units are located in out-of-the-way places, which make it a difficult situation to replace it on job site, and you have to have a product that's going to live up to the expectations. The heart of the system right here, located adjacent to me with the bearings in the front and the rear, are the subject bearings which require the lubrication, the SHC lubrication. The only product we could come up with that would do the job was a Mobil SHC product. The Mobil product had the elevated viscosity at the temperature of 160 degrees, which we required. All other currently available mineral oils did not have that. If one of these bearing areas were to fail, it would mean about $15,000 to $20,000 to rebuild the unit. This whole compressor package has got to be removed and replaced with another one and returned to the factory. We have a 2-year warranty on the compressor, and it's null and void if the user has not used a Mobil SHC product in it and maintained a regularly scheduled sampling period.
In our industry, we are very equipment intensive, and oil is a very important part of keeping all the equipment going. We have several hundred agitators, we have several thousand pumps, we have literally over 10,000 rotating pieces of equipment in the plant, and they all require lubrication. In our company, I'm superintendent of maintenance engineering, and our group was primarily established for the purpose of reducing maintenance costs. And lubrication is an area that we're looking at very actively because we see it as a real potential. For example,
maintenance is a nuisance or a necessity, an unending cost, or a profit center. When you see it as a profit center, you can justify investment, and the return on investment is immediate.
We were astounded by the fact that they were changing it out every 3 months and that they were having that many gear failures. So when we put all the numbers together, we came up with about $84,000 of losses. In other words, by going and changing to the synthetics, they reduced their cost by $84,000.
Yeah, and that cost did not represent downtime costs. The downtime costs were much more than that. We could be talking anywhere from $5,000 to maybe $6,000 or $7,000 per hour, depending on the application. We have under construction right now a $300 million facility in Loudon, Tennessee. It's a new plant, and that plant will be using all Mobil synthetic lubricants. So I think that's a vote, if you will, of how strong we believe in the product.
No matter how carefully we construct a laboratory test, the only real test is the real world. The proof of power savings is often hard to establish. Machines may vary. Equipment load definitely varies. Isolating energy savings is not the easiest thing to do, but the dollar savings make it worth the effort.
At Bristol Laboratories, we have an energy savings program because that's one of the largest expenses that we have in the company. We've looked at a lot of different ways, and some ways that have come up in a lot of engineering books is the use of synthetic lubricants. And we decided that it would be something that we should at least run a test on to see if we could realize any savings in our facility.
And that test encompassed 12 weeks of actual energy testing with a watt meter on a conventional mineral oil versus a Mobil synthetic gear lubricant.
One of the areas in our plant that we have that type of application is the fermentation process. The fermentation tanks are 3 stories high. The one that we used has about 40,000 gallon capacity. The motor is a 500 horsepower motor, and the motor drives an agitator, which is a lot like a mixer. We measured oil temperature on a daily basis, and we took great care in making the analysis and the calculations that we received during the different cycles.
On this one particular gear set that we actually ran the test, there is an engineering formula that you convert savings into actual dollars.
From the conventional mineral oil to the synthetic lubricant, we showed approximately 5% decrease in energy usage average per the cycles that we measured.
I believe on this one gear set, it was $6,900 per year.
This will translate throughout the fermentation process to about $80,000 per year.
Gross savings in extended oil life with a synthetic oil was in the $80,000 range. You back off approximately $10,000 for the cost of the synthetic, and your net figure is in the area of $70,000 per year.
With the lower temperature of the oil will last longer because the temperature of the oil has a lot to do with the life of the oil. And the cost of the oil will be paid back in about a month and a half. After the analysis that we made and found that we had a 5% reduction in energy usage on this particular tank, we decided to make a broader application and use the synthetic lubricants in all of our fermentation tanks, which are 22 tanks.
We have votes of confidence stretching back 20 years, reaching into every industry, every climate, from unbelievable cold to intensive heat, to rising costs of power, to the crushing new demands for productivity. There is always a degree of uncertainty when something new is tried or specified. But Mobil's synthetic hydrocarbons have been field tested for over 20 years.
You find that you've got less wear, which results in other reduced maintenance costs. And in the overall picture, it oftentimes figures out that the synthetic will save money in the long run.
As a maintenance man, you find very quickly in life that it pays to buy quality the first time, so you don't have to go back and do it the second time.
I wouldn't have any difficulty explaining increased lubrication costs, even though the oil is 3 times as expensive as the mineral-based. We're talking small quantities, and we're really not talking that much dollars.
Presently, with the synthetics, we can get by with using one oil and leave it in for at least a year, and we think that with further testing now, we can probably run as much as 2 years on a single oil change, so we're saving about 3 oil changes.
I'm fairly confident that we'll realize the $80,000 savings in electrical energy, and I would say that I would be pretty confident within plus or minus $10,000 of that savings.
Tests at Staley in certain applications showed we could get anywhere from 4 to 6% in the proper applications power savings by just using synthetic oils.
The only risk would be the spending of money. But other than that, no risk. The product is proven. It has builder approval. It has widespread use.
Our sales representatives and our distributor organization are highly interested in the use of synthetic lubricant and have verified that it does give them a competitive edge in selling the worm gear speed reducer.
Mobil SHC has a competitive edge. We said it before. If we can't save you money, we don't deserve your business. Now let us change the emphasis. We don't deserve your business if we can't make money for you.
Day in, day out, you work hard to get the job done. And your operation is only as efficient as the equipment you use. Today's sophisticated machinery requires quality lubricants to maintain its competitive edge. Quality lubes mean longer equipment life, lower maintenance costs, and improved efficiency. A savings of both time and money for you. At Mobil, we recognize the importance of superior products. As the world's leading lubricant supplier, we stake our reputation on product and service performance. And in a recent survey of 500 purchasing agents and engineering personnel throughout the United States, Mobil rated #1 for quality. But our reputation is only as good as our continued effort. That's why we maintain rigorous quality standards, from refining through formulation, from base stock and additive selection through blending and compounding, from filling and packaging through delivery. We plan for quality every step of the way. Mobil begins by listening carefully to customers and formulating products to meet their needs. Our engineers work with more original equipment manufacturers and have our products listed on more equipment builder plates than any other lubricant supplier in the world. Our pursuit for product superiority starts with the careful selection of desirable lube quality crudes. Mobil is a recognized authority in refining technology, so much so that our processes are licensed around the world. And Mobil crudes are chosen for their ability to meet specific application requirements. Our refined base stocks must pass critical specifications that were developed based on product applications. And only base stocks which pass these specifications are shipped to our manufacturing lube plants. When they arrive at our lube plants, they undergo tests to confirm their chemical composition and physical characteristics. Only base stocks that pass these tests are received for storage and are then pumped into dedicated tanks. Additives enter the lube plant with the same attention to detail. Mobil works closely with its suppliers in additive formulation to establish critical specifications based on customer applications. Before being accepted by our plants, both packaged and bulk additives must bear a certificate of analysis. This document attests to the quality and composition of the incoming product. Bulk additives must also pass tests that show they conform to the certificate of analysis before being pumped into dedicated storage tanks. Mobil has invested significant capital for equipment that ensures product quality and consistency during the blending process. Inline blending is accomplished through the use of sophisticated equipment and computer systems. These systems are programmed to ensure that the correct amount of base stock and additives are apportioned for each blend. The computer also determines which lines must be connected for proper transfer. During the process, each line is dedicated to a specific lube family group, so that oils with different properties and applications aren't mixed.
It is important to dedicate lines to specific product families because of the qualities, specific qualities a product or product family may have. For example, Mobil Guard 450 is a zinc-free product, and in order to maintain that zinc-free characteristic, it must be handled in a dedicated piping system to ensure or safeguard the quality of that product.
Inline blending only proceeds if proper line hookup has been established and verified, and the computer controls the blending process, assigning exact ingredient proportions for each product. By its very design, the inline blending system promotes precision, speed, and flexibility, enabling Mobil to be more responsive to customer needs. Some products, such as metalworking oils, greases, and wax emulsions, must be batch or kettle blended. Such blends receive the same unwavering consideration. Ingredients used in kettle blends are subject to the same exacting standards, and sophisticated instruments are used to regulate critical aspects of the process, such as proper mixing temperatures. Whether products are blended by inline or kettle, each batch is sampled and tested before storage or distribution. We rely upon professionals during this process. Chemists and qualified technicians evaluate each sample. And our state-of-the-art laboratory equipment and uniform testing standards guarantee that product integrity is maintained.
We test band samples primarily for two reasons. First, to ensure the product manufactured was made in accordance with formulation guidelines or the blend recipe. And second, to confirm the product meets Mobil's stringent test specifications. In this way, we can guarantee the seal of quality on all our lubricants.
At the lab, test results are logged and retained for future reference. Samples must meet all Mobil specifications or the product will not be delivered to customers. When test samples confirm that the product is on specification, quality assurance and control continue in the packaging line. Mobil begins by working closely with its suppliers to ensure that packaging configurations and specs meet customer needs. All containers are rigorously inspected and affixed with easy-to-read labels. These labels include all necessary product information and worker right-to-know details. Products are piped to the filling area via dedicated or pigged lines, which prevent mixing with other unrelated lubes. There, the product is drummed, paled, or bottled, using machinery specifically designed to ensure the quality of our operation and the integrity of our products. At the beginning and end of any fill, samples are taken and evaluated by the lab. And in high-volume runs, additional samples may be taken during the fill as well. Samples from each fill lot are labeled and retained should any future questions arise. Once filled, containers are checked to guarantee correct volume and weight, and that seals and caps are properly fastened. Additional packaging promotes both quality and customer convenience. For example, pails and case goods are shrink-wrapped for stability and ease of movement, which helps ensure that our customers receive a damage-free shipment. Bulk products receive a similar level of care and control. Before loading, each truck is thoroughly inspected for cleanliness. External connections are examined for dirt, water, and oil. And all storage compartments, lines, and valves are checked. This procedure helps affirm that the new product won't be contaminated by residue from previous shipments. Upon clearance, product is pumped into the truck according to weight. That way, our customers receive the exact amounts ordered. Before leaving the plant, samples are taken from each compartment of the truck for testing, once again ensuring the consistency and quality of Mobil's outbound product. Finally, each individual compartment is sealed to prevent any tampering, and deliveries are made to either customers or distributors. Distributors represent a continued quality assurance and control link, and Mobil and the distributor rely upon each other for positive recognition in the marketplace. Our distributors adhere to the same high standards and attention to detail that we do. Whether receiving, storing, or repackaging, they support Mobil's quality lubricant commitment.
We make an extra effort to train our warehouse people, our drivers, and salespeople as to Mobil's quality control. We take an extra effort to make sure that our tanks and compartments and tank wagon trucks are labeled properly so that we can deliver the proper product. We also follow Mobil's quality control standards to the best of our ability, as they are the strongest and most stringent quality control programs in the industry.
Quality assurance at a distributor site begins with handling and storage. All unloading lines and pumps are again dedicated to product family groups. Likewise, lines and pumps are routinely flushed between products within the same family group. All lines and pumps are clearly designated for the product families they handle, and storage tanks are dedicated to a single product. After receiving a bulk load, the distributor always draws a storage tank sample. This sample is tested for viscosity, color, and moisture. Test results remain on file for a period of 6 months. When the distributor loads a customer's bulk shipment, Many of the same guidelines apply. Loading lines, pumps, and hoses are dedicated to one product family. Likewise, lines, pumps, and hoses are flushed between products of the same family. Before loading, all delivery truck compartments are drained and flushed. We recommend that our distributors sample bulk deliveries just prior to shipment, and we also encourage our distributors to sample their customers' tanks before pumping new oil to storage. These samples can be compared to a visual standard at the location and should be retained by the distributor for 6 months. When packaging Mobil lubricants, distributors again follow specific guidelines. Containers are inspected for cleanliness and for general suitable condition before filling. Those that pass muster are given a proper Mobil product label and also bear the distributor's name and filling date. Transfer lines used to fill containers are flushed before filling begins. Product is then filled by meter or weight to guarantee accuracy, and samples from the first and last container are drawn and sent to Mobil for testing. Within 48 hours of receipt, Mobil advises the distributor on storage tank or repackaging sample results. The sample must conform to our quality standards, or the load cannot be released as a Mobil product. This procedure helps guarantee that customers consistently receive a premium lubricant. Careful handling and delivery practices confirm the continued success of both Mobil and its distributors. This success, because it's built on product excellence, can lead to formal industry recognition. And so far, Mobil's been awarded certification by several industry leaders: Ford, GM, Toyota, and Caterpillar, to name a few.
Mobil was selected to produce Caterpillar fluids over several potential worldwide suppliers for many reasons. First of all, Mobil's attitude and their willingness to participate in the Caterpillar program. In particular, their willingness to blend fluids to our own specific formulations.
In becoming an international quality assured supplier for Caterpillar's own formulation of lubricants, Mobil first had to demonstrate that it has a quality plan. This plan documents that our quality assurance efforts are based on the prevention of problems rather than simply on their detection and correction. It also defines the systems we put in place for ongoing annual quality improvements. Mobil is proud of its customer certifications and will continue to safeguard and streamline every phase of lube design, manufacturing, packaging, and delivery. Our products must perform for you all day, every day, so that you can rest easier at night. And at Mobil, we're not satisfied unless every shipment we deliver gives you that quality edge.
Cutting speed is 350 RPM. Feed rate, 30 centimeters per minute. Multiplied by dozens of cutters, turning out hundreds of pieces per shift on a good day. 2 shifts per day in good times. The sound of metal biting into metal is not noise. It's money to the ears. They're getting about 30 pieces before the finish begins to look unusable. So they regrind the tools after producing only 24 pieces, realizing that it is better to spend the time regrinding than to spend it rejecting and recutting. Maybe they could get another 3 good pieces. Maybe not. It's just not worth the risk. So most shops live with the cost, live in a world where the tolerance is down to less than a millimeter, where the delivery dates are just in time and not 1 day more.
where the customer on the receiving end has a micrometer in his hand and a file full of competitors who'd like to cut you out of the business. So you live with the pressures and absorb the costs. You live with downtime when a clutch burns out. Downtime while they soften up and clean out deposits from the water-based cutting fluid. Somehow, you live through the time when your best operator is down at the clinic, bright red from fingers to elbow, and still scratching. The doctor says,
"You've got to wear gloves. You've just got to wear gloves."
The man says,
"You've got to be kidding."
So you live through downtime, overtime, and it's time to check out your choices, to review your operations. Time to analyze water-based coolants and eliminate the ones which cause problems. Time to upgrade your cutting oils and build up your profits. It's time to look for engineering support, because you cannot afford to run experiment after experiment. You need a lubrication engineer, and Mobil has them.
Vamos a cortar un spline de 13 dientes.
Money talks in every language people speak. The translation from pesetas to dollars is easy. Cutting 13-tooth splines from pre-hardened 4140 steel with a hardness of RC38 wears out cutting tools. Using conventional oil, a tool produced 78 parts before the cutter was worn out. Changing to Mobil cutting oil pushed the average up to 170 finished parts per tool. The cutters ran cooler, finishes were cleaner. Time between cutter changes increased from 6 hours to 8 hours. The cost of oil went up slightly. Money spent on new cutters dropped dramatically. Net result, productivity and profit rose quickly. Capital investment hasn't changed one bit. The heads and hands are the same. The only element that is different is the cutting fluid. And that difference is almost invisible. Temperature at the cutting edge can climb as high as 850 degrees Celsius. Chips weld themselves to the tool or fly loose, ruining the work surface. The built-up edge behind the cutting edge grows out of control. When it becomes too big, the cutter overheats, and the continuous chip tends to break away, splashing hot metal onto the work surface. With a precisely engineered Mobil cutting fluid, the buildup comes down to the right size and shape. Heat flows away, and the tool will make perfect cuts for a much longer period of time. If the fluid does not meet the job specifications precisely, if the anti-weld additive is not up to the job, every other cost goes out of control. There is probably no single area of your business where costs are reduced. Metal, tools, people cost a little bit more with every new job. There are no exceptions. But there is a solution. A better cutting fluid will cut time. It costs more in the barrel, but it will cut time. And time is money all around the world.
Ici, nous coupons l'acier 8620.
With traditional water-soluble cutting fluids, broaches had to be reground after 4,500 pieces. When Mobil specified the right cutting fluid, 9,000 pieces were finished before regrinding. The cost of the new oil went up slightly, but labor costs on regrinding dropped significantly. And there was another large saving as new broach purchases were reduced by half. We're not trying to draw a battle line between cutting oils and water-soluble coolants, but water-based emulsions can create their own problems. They carry the additives you need, plus the food bacteria thrive on. Your machine room could start growing bacteria, so you pour in biocides to hold down the problem of contamination, which could cause a worker problem called dermatitis. A rhythmic routine from hand to nose, hand to hand to eye, to nose, to elbow, to pocket, hand to mouth, and back again in this bacteria cafeteria. And the man finishes off with a quick dip in solvent, which only adds to the problem. There are 3 ways to handle the problem. One is to lose the worker because his skin is on fire in this environment. A better way is to get him to clean up his act by giving him a place to wash up with the right soap, protective gloves, or barrier creams. clean uniforms, clear-cut training so he does not pocket the chemicals or eat them. The third approach is the toughest.